Helljumpers, Chapter 10, The Fall of Reach. All crew battle stations, this is not a drill. The message kept repeating itself over and over again as Twilight ran into the armory. The other crew were also in a rush to get to their posts. Having 4 legs gave Twilight an edge in speed over any of the humans running through the hallways. Finally arriving at the armory, she found that Mac and Tyler had already arrived and were quickly putting on their armor. Twilight levitated her own custom set of armor and put it on.
"Where are Scoots and Lucy?"
she asked while tightening the straps, keeping each individual piece of armor in place. No idea. They said that they were training with a bunch of the other Marines," Mac responded as he grabbed a shotgun from a weapons rack and threw it over to Twilight. "Here, use that. The DMR isn't gonna do you much good at close quarters." Twilight attached the gun to her side, quickly grabbing some ammo for it. It wasn't that she liked the shotgun as a weapon, but at close quarters it would wreak havoc on enemy soldiers. She suddenly felt nauseous at what she had just thought.
Did I just analyze the lethal potential of a weapon?
She quickly banished the thought to the back of her mind to think about it later. Right now, she needed to focus. Twilight finished up packing her equipment, and Scootaloo and Lucy came running into the armory. "Oh, nice of you to join the party," Tyler quiped as he finished reloading the assault rifle he had grabbed for himself.
Had a bit of a traffic jam in the hallways,"
Lucy responded quickly, donning her own armor along with Scootaloo.
"Anyway, I take it that the Covenant finally showed up with a fleet?"
"Don't know, but you're probably right," Mac replied. "We're stationed in the aft of the ship to prevent any potential boarders from getting close to either the slip space drive or reactor core." "So, no grenades?" Tyler asked, to which Mac shook his head. "Fantastic, that just takes all the fun out of it." "Zip it, Tyler. Switch them out for smokes and flashbangs. Alright, everyone good to go?" Mac asked, getting an affirmative from everyone in the room. "Good. Now let's get moving, Shadow Bolts." The group quickly got moving to the aft of the ship. The hallway's much clearer as almost all the crew were at their posts. They could feel the ship making course adjustments so every now and then, while making their way to their designated defensive position. Finally arriving at the reactor, the group set up some barricades with crates.
"So, what now?"
Scootaloo asked. "Well, we wait. If it's a fleet we're facing, then there's a good chance the ship will get shot before any boarding craft will be used," Mac simply stated, causing a cold chill to go up Scootaloo's spine. The following 15 minutes, the ODSTs remained silent as everyone was tensed up. The ship groaned every so now and then alongside the noise of engines, and the alarm has been turned off. The only thing signifying battle stations were the red lights, and a sudden hum followed by a loud bang startled the ponies.
"What was that?"
Twilight asked.
"That would be the Mac cannon,"
Lucy calmly answered Twilight, shortly after another shot of the Mac rang through the hull of the frigate. Twilight's breathing started to increase as more sounds came from the ship as Archer missiles were fired.
"Twilight, calm down. There's nothing you can do against this,"
Lucy said, and Twilight looked over at her and weakly nodded, starting to do breathing exercises to calm herself down. 30 more minutes passed as more sounds from various weapons could be heard coming from the ship, unnerving the ODSTs. Space battles are the worst of battles for regular soldiers since you can't see or hear anything unless you're on the bridge, and you wouldn't know if your side was winning or losing or if your ship was about to explode or not. Another few minutes later, a loud explosion could be heard and the frigate violently listed to port, recovering moments after. The engines could suddenly be heard running at full power, and the group could feel the ship shooting forward. 20 dull metallic thumps could be heard as everyone regained their bearings after the sudden movement caused by the explosion and the engines flaring.
"Intruders detected from sectors E5 to G7.
The intercom suddenly blurted shortly, followed by Mac's comms to the bridge. "Sergeant Cross, be advised, you have multiple enemy squads bearing down on your position," an operator could be heard saying. "Alright, thanks for the heads up, Bridge. We'll give them hell." Red dots started appearing on the motion sensors and grunts started pouring into the hallway. Everyone started opening up on the little aliens who all fell relatively quickly. The next group of aliens turning the corner were jackals, with shields flanked by 2 elites. Plasma fire from the jackals forced the soldier back behind their cover while they slowly moved forward. Tyler fumbled with one of the pockets on his belt, retrieving a frag grenade from one. "Really, Tyler? Remember the part in the armory where I said, no grenades?" Mac shouted at him. "Thank me later!" Tyler growled back and threw the now primed grenade over the line of jackals. the explosion throwing shrapnel into the backs of the aliens, making them stagger. Using the lapse in fire, the ODSTs picked off the jackals before they could get their shields back facing them again. The two remaining elites now charging down the hallway, trying to reach the barricade where the ODSTs were held up. A hail of gunfire impacted against their shields that were already weakened from the grenade blast. One of the two fell before reaching the barricade, getting caught in the gunfire from Mac's assault rifle. But the second one managed to jump the barricade and aimed its plasma pistol at Tyler. Twilight had aimed her shotgun at the back of the elite, and fired, downing its shield and making it stumble forward, but did not kill it yet. Tyler, not wasting a moment, shot up, letting out a savage roar, and plunged his combat knife into the neck of the elite, killing it. Lucy swooped her assault rifle around the hallway in front of them, checking if any of the aliens had survived.
Okay, didn't they say a full few squads were on their way?
She asked, noting that the body count was relatively low from what they were expecting.
There must be more of the
Lucy continued, but then spotted a disturbance in the light between her and Scootaloo.
Cloaked elites!
She shouted, emptying her magazine into the disturbance, the cloak immediately dropping. The elite roared and activated its energy sword, slashing at Scootaloo. The Pegasus, due to Lucy's warning, tried to get as much distance between herself and her opponent, but it was too slow. The sword impacted the visor of Scootaloo's helmet and left a diagonal slash across it, earning a blood-curdling scream from the pony. Hearing the scream, Twilight's heart stopped beating for a moment, fearing for Scootaloo, but seeing the elite raise its sword again to finish the filly off. A bright fire lit inside of the alicorn. Letting out a roar, she called on the limited magic in the area as she pulled the elite towards herself and rammed the shotgun in its face, pulling the trigger. The shield of the elite, already damaged by Lucy, couldn't withstand the force of the shotgun and popped. The shotgun shell blasting a hole into the skull of the alien and letting it drop onto the deck. Tyler, meanwhile, had pulled a flashbang and threw it into the hallway. Immediately after the flashbang subsided, the shimmering form of another elite could be seen. Before anyone could shoot it, Twilight charged at him with an incredible display of speed, smashing the butt of her weapon into it, causing it to fall backward. Turning the weapon back around, she fired off 4 shells into the alien, completely destroying its chest armor.
Scootaloo!
Twilight threw the shotgun to the side and ran to the hurt Pegasus, who had taken off her helmet and held her head in her hooves while sobbing.
Scoots, let me and Twilight take a look,
Lucy said as she joined Twilight next to the filly. Scootaloo slowly let go of her face so the two medics could see what kind of damage the sword has done. The sword left a diagonal streak of burned flesh from her left forehead down to the right side of her muzzle, missing her right eye, but only by a couple of centimeters.
It's not critical, but that needs to be looked at by the doc,
Lucy observed, getting a shot of anesthetic and injecting it into Scootaloo, who promptly fell unconscious because of it. Sergeant Cross, the boarders redirected their efforts to the bridge. We need your squad up here ASAP. They're already banging on our blast doors, the radio operator told Mac.
Mac, can you link my comms to the bridge?
Twilight asked with a growl, standing back up and swiftly reloading her shotgun. Why? He simply replied.
I've got a plan, but they need to jump into slip space for it to work.
Mac brought up the settings to the comms on his visor and patched Twilight into the system. Alright, you're alive, Twilight.
Captain Ross, sir, do you copy?
5x5, Private. Make it quick. I don't have all the time in the world, the captain responded.
Sir, is it a possibility to perform an emergency slip space jump?
We've been on an outbound trajectory for a few minutes now, Private, but it's not going to do any good if the bridge gets overrun. We need support up here ASAP, Sparkle.
Sir, the magic field in slip space is exponentially stronger than the one here in real space. Jumping now will mean I gain access to my full repertoire of spells, which will give us a massive advantage. The radio stayed silent, but moments later she could feel the magic field strengthening. Private, get up here soon because the Covenant are almost through the blast door and I'd rather blow the Dawn up than give her to these bastards. Twilight turned back to Matt. Get Scootaloo to the medbay for me, please.
Immediately after she lit her horn, she vanished, not giving Mac a single chance to respond, leaving only the smell of ozone in her departure. Well, fucking fantastic. Alright, Lucy, you're carrying Scootaloo, Mac rumbled, his subordinates doing as told, and the remaining 3 ODSTs started moving.